Beneath a sun that never sets in fear, Australia stands apart, not just by distance, but by design. While the world trembles to the rhythm of tension and trade, this island continent breathes in its own time, untouched and steady. Its silence is not ignorance, it's awareness dressed in calm. Here, chaos travels far but never lands. It finds no fuel, no frenzy, no fight. Australia's peace is not an accident. It's an architecture, a quiet masterpiece shaped by distance, trust, and deliberate restraint. And so, when storms rise elsewhere, this land simply listens, knowing that true strength isn't loud, it's lasting. Australia is a continent wrapped in its own horizon, a vast island whose distance has always been its quiet defense. The seas that separate it from the world's power struggles act not as barriers, but as guardians, filtering noise and haste before they ever reach its shores. Where other nations are bound by crowded borders, Australia is held by water, deep, ancient, and watchful. In this remoteness lies an invisible armor, one that protects not just geography, but the national soul. It gives Australians time to observe, to decide, to act with measure while others rush in reaction. The world burns in immediacy, but Australia lives in reflection. That distance has shaped its character, calm in tone, cautious in movement, yet fiercely independent in thought. While global currents twist and pull economies into storms, Australia drifts on its own tide. It listens to the world's arguments, but answers only when it must, speaking in policies instead of passions. The tyranny of distance, once a colonial burden, has become its greatest modern gift, a natural pause button in an age of panic. This isolation doesn't mean detachment, it means control. The country's heartbeat moves to its own rhythm, not the frantic pace of the Western machine. And so, when chaos brews in capital's oceans away, when the White House plays its chess of currency, control, and consequence, Australia watches without shaking. It feels the ripples, yes, but never the quake. For its distance is not just physical, it is philosophical. It's the understanding that survival does not come from speed, but from steadiness. While others rush to war with words and numbers, Australia remains a continent of considered silence. The distance that protects it is not a wall, but a mirror, one that reflects a truth the world too often forgets. Peace begins where noise cannot reach. Australia's strength begins where its soil meets the sun. Beneath its open skies lies an economy carved not from illusion, but from the land, red dust, green fields, and shimmering coasts that have learned the rhythm of endurance. While the world builds its wealth on speculation, Australia builds its stability on substance. Iron, coal, wheat, wine, they are not just exports, but lifelines, anchors that tether the nation to something real. Its economy breathes with the pulse of the planet itself, steady, cyclical, unhurried by the tempers of distant markets. When others gamble on paper, Australia digs, grows, and ships what the earth gives back. This connection to the land is not a relic of the past. It is a promise to the future. Because here, prosperity has roots. It stretches downward before it dares to rise. Every mine, every crop, every trade vessel leaving its ports carries a piece of that grounded philosophy. That value must come from something you can touch, something that sustains. It's not luck that keeps Australia calm in times of turmoil. It's design. A nation that feeds, fuels, and fortifies others does not crumble easily. Its abundance, carefully managed, shields it from the fever of global chaos. When financial storms rage, Australia's economy bends but never breaks, because its wealth is older than currency. It's the language of land, labor, and lasting worth. And while the White House and Wall Street dance to the rhythm of numbers that vanish overnight, Australia listens to the hum of harvests and the weight of minerals beneath its feet. Its economy does not chase headlines, it outlives them. The rest of the world debates power, Australia cultivates balance. The earth beneath it is not merely territory, it is testimony. For when a nation's wealth is rooted in the planet, no economic war can easily unearth it. Australia stands firm, not by defiance, but by design, a quiet empire of soil and sea that prospers because it remembers what truly endures. There is a stillness that breathes through the Australian way of life, a calm not born from indifference, but from understanding. Here, chaos finds no home because the people have learned the quiet strength of balance. The Australian spirit is steady, patient, shaped by a land that demands both respect and resilience. The sun burns, the oceans roar, yet the heart of the nation remains composed. In their calm, there is wisdom, a knowing that storms will pass, and panic never builds a bridge. They do not rush toward noise or chase disorder. They move with the rhythm of reason, anchored in an easy confidence that life, even when uncertain, can still be kind. This composure has become their greatest defense, a cultural armor forged not in conflict, but in contentment. In this society, calm is not weakness, it is discipline. From the coastal cities to the quiet outback towns, there runs a current of grounded decency, a belief that tension serves no purpose if it solves nothing. Australians laugh easily, speak simply, and stand tall without shouting. They do not mistake volume for strength or outrage for truth. Their humor disarms, their patience endures, and their respect sustains. This is not a land easily shaken, because its people have mastered the art of pause, the sacred stillness before reaction. When the world fractures under pressure, Australia exhales. That breath, collective and calm, becomes the difference between panic and purpose, between collapse and continuity. And so, when distant powers stir storms of economic rivalry or ideological noise, the Australian spirit remains unbothered. It watches, it adapts, it endures. Their calm is not ignorance of global tides. It is immunity to unnecessary turbulence. The people trust their systems, their soil, and one another. They have no hunger for drama because they understand that peace, once lost, is costly to regain. This cultural serenity is their unseen strength, the quiet confidence that no matter who rattles the world's table, Australia will sit in stillness and keep its balance. For in the calm of their culture lies the unspoken truth. A nation that refuses to be provoked cannot easily be undone. When the world trembles at the whisper of crisis, Australia listens, not with fear, but with focus. In this nation, leadership is less about spectacle and more about stewardship. Decisions are not made to please the moment, but to protect the horizon. The calm of the culture finds its echo in the calm of its governance. Policy here is deliberate, crafted not in haste, but in harmony with reason. When other nations tighten their fists, Australia opens its hands to assess, to measure, to act with clarity. It is a political rhythm that prizes order over outcry, method over madness. The result is stability disguised as simplicity, a quiet strength that moves unseen but holds everything steady when the winds of uncertainty blow. In times of global strain, this restraint becomes the nation's most profound virtue. While louder powers rush to impose, sanction, or retaliate, Australia studies the ripple before it stirs the wave. Its policies are built not from pride but from prudence, grounded in the belief that chaos begins where foresight ends. The government's measured tone filters down through society, teaching citizens that panic is never a solution, only an amplifier of disorder. Here, the machinery of the state works not for display, but for defense, an invisible engine designed to absorb impact without losing balance. To outsiders, this may look like passivity. In truth, it is precision. The nation's steadiness is not the absence of motion, it is the mastery of control. Even as global powers jostle for dominance and economies clash in cycles of arrogance, Australia remains an island of strategy. Its policies act like shields, not flashy, but firm. They protect without provoking, adapt without surrendering. This is a country that has learned to bend before it breaks, to plan before it reacts. While others let emotion steer their course, Australia navigates by logic and long vision. This approach, patient, analytical, and quietly powerful, ensures that when turmoil spreads across continents, Australia does not fracture. It absorbs, it recalibrates, it endures. And in this balance between governance and grace, between caution and courage, lies the secret to its unshakable peace. A nation that leads with thought will never be ruled by fear. Between two titans, the United States and China, lies a continent that refuses to echo their noise. Australia stands like a calm observer at the edge of the storm, close enough to feel the tremors, wise enough not to join them. Its geography is both distance and defense, a stretch of land and willpower that shields it from the tug-of-war of global giants. When trade wars thunder and currencies clash, Australia listens, calculates, and chooses stillness over spectacle. It understands that true power is not always in resistance, but in restraint. Where others draw lines in the sand, Australia draws lessons, shaping policies that flow with both winds yet bend to neither. Its diplomacy is a dance of balance, quiet, deliberate, and deeply aware that survival belongs not to the loud, but to the wise. This nation knows the art of quiet influence. It does not roar, it resonates. While others wage wars of rhetoric, Australia builds bridges between economies, between ideals, between futures. It trades with China, allies with America, and trusts itself to navigate between the two without losing its identity. This duality is not confusion, it is control. A country that can speak to both sides without surrendering to either stands in rare territory, the middle ground that most fear but few can hold. And so, when the tides of global rivalry rise, Australia's calm does not come from neutrality, but from understanding. The best way to stay untouched by conflict is to be indispensable to both sides of it. Beneath this balance lies a deeper wisdom, that chaos does not always arrive with guns or money, but with ideology. Australia, in its quiet brilliance, guards not just its borders, but its narrative. It knows that alignment without wisdom is vulnerability. So it plays the long game, patient, practical, profoundly self-aware. It invests in diplomacy as it does in its soil, with care, consistency, and vision. And while empires clash in the distance, Australia watches the horizon, untouched not because it hides, but because it understands. To exist between giants and remain whole is not luck, it is mastery, a symphony of calm amid the noise of ambition. There is a quiet strength in Australia that cannot be seen, only felt. It hums beneath everyday life, in the handshake between strangers, in the unspoken trust that flows through neighborhoods, in the belief that rules are not chains but threads that hold the fabric together. This invisible armor is not built by government or guarded by force. It is shaped by culture, by the slow, steady rhythm of trust passed from one generation to the next. Australians live by a quiet code: fairness, mateship, decency. It is not loud, but it is lasting. And in a world where suspicion often wins, that quiet belief in each other becomes the nation's truest shield. Here, law is not feared but respected. The system does not have to shout to be obeyed. It simply exists with integrity, and the people follow because they believe it is theirs. There is order, not because of control, but because of consent, a collective understanding that peace is built not in power, but in participation. When crises strike elsewhere, tearing trust apart, Australia's calm endures. Communities respond, not in panic, but in purpose. It is the kind of unity that cannot be legislated, only lived. And in that trust, chaos finds no doorway. When citizens believe in their institutions, this social harmony is not accidental. It is earned, decade after decade, through honesty, fairness, and shared identity. The Australian heart beats in rhythm with community, not competition. It celebrates equality not as ideology, but as instinct. People here do not see themselves as subjects of the state, but partners in its peace. That connection, invisible yet unbreakable, forms a wall stronger than iron, quieter than prayer. It is what keeps chaos from entering, even when the world trembles. The rest of the world looks outward for defense: armies, alliances, walls. Australia looks inward and finds something far more enduring: trust. The future of Australia is not built in steel or stone, it is built in foresight. While other nations chase the noise of today, Australia listens to the silence of tomorrow. Its stability is not luck, it is design. Geography gave it distance, but wisdom gave it direction. Policies rooted in sustainability, border control, and social welfare form a foundation deeper than defense. They create resilience. The land itself teaches patience, the slow bloom of the desert, the rhythm of the tides, the quiet discipline of survival. From nature, Australia learned that strength is not about force, but about balance. The world shifts, economies clash, powers rise and fade, yet Australia moves with deliberate grace. Its alliances are chosen with care, its policies shaped by pragmatism, not panic. The country does not lean too far east or west. It stands centered, grounded in its own truth. When global markets quake, when political storms sweep continents, Australia steadies itself like a tree that bends but does not break. Its leaders, imperfect yet cautious, guard not ambition but continuity. In that restraint lies endurance. The fortress of the future is not about isolation, but insulation, a shield made of reason, not rivalry. What truly protects Australia is not its army, nor its oceans, but its mindset. A nation that values calm over chaos, cooperation over confrontation, and tomorrow over applause will always outlast the noise of the moment. In this quiet strength, Australia shows the world that peace is not the absence of power, but the mastery of it. The White House may wage economic wars, global shifts may test alliances, but chaos will not find a home here. For Australia's greatest defense is invisible, a fortress built in the hearts of its people and in the wisdom of its choices. In the end, Australia's calm is not luck, it is legacy. A legacy of patience, design, and quiet strength. While the world measures power through conflict, Australia measures it through balance. It has mastered the art of distance, not isolation, but insulation, a deliberate separation from the noise that shakes other nations. It stands as proof that peace can be built, that stability can be engineered, and that calm is not weakness, but wisdom in motion. The soil that holds its wealth also anchors its soul, rich, steady, and deeply connected to the rhythm of the earth. Here, chaos arrives late, and even when it does, it finds no place to grow. The Australian way is simple yet profound. Prepare early, react slowly, and speak softly. When the tides of global uncertainty rise, when superpowers posture and economies falter, Australia listens first. Its silence is not hesitation, but discernment. Its restraint is not fear, but foresight. This is how a nation becomes its own fortress, not through walls, but through awareness. While others panic in cycles of reaction, Australia plans in generations. That is why chaos finds no foothold here, because every decision is made with the quiet courage of foresight, not the noise of impulse. So as the world turns and tempers flare, Australia remains still, steady, shining like an island of reason in a restless sea. It is not untouched by the world's struggles, but unbroken by them. This, perhaps, is its truest power, to exist in harmony with danger and yet never be defined by it. If this journey moved you, if you found a glimpse of truth within this calm, stay connected. Like, share, and subscribe to PrimeSpeaks, where stories meet substance and reflection meets reason. Here, we don't just speak of the world, we understand it, one quiet truth at a time.